sure what we were going to do? I did not. Dee told me Shelly was in the Army this week, and now she went to Patriots Colony yesterday. And Dee told me she was bringing Shelly an old iPad so she could watch. And I said, great. And just now I said, hope she's not staying since Dee's in 18. So I just went to call her, but she's here, so good. So that's fine. All right, let's make sure everyone who has a part is actually here. She felt very bad about not coming at all. And I had to quote Schitt's Creek when you've never Schitt's Creek, right? When David's going for his driver's test and he's like all hyper nervous, Alexis says to him, right.
You're not.
Nobody's going to know, but I guess she felt up for coming, so that's good.
Which she...
As long as I don't feel sick on
I have
Sunday,
a question for you.
then we're going to go for Wednesday night's game. To Queens for the baseball game Wednesday night.
You're going to go to New York?
That's my plan. I'll buy us tickets.
I mean, I would think
No, they're like... But I owe Elijah a playoff game. You don't know this story? When he was 9 years ago, he chose not to come to the World Series because he didn't want to miss Halloween, which I was fine because he was fine. The tickets were $750 each. You can buy anything on StubHub, Rich. It's just if you want to spend the money. I just had like a few minutes of concern when I thought, oh, are you going to stay and help her use the iPad? And then I just called you because I was like, I texted you and then I just called. I was like, D, you actually need to be here. So.
I know I'm in the backyard. Okay, I just
You set her up?
Yeah.
She's good?
I set her up, and I also talked to one of the nurses who basically has backup information. So whatever she
A million times thank you. Because she sounded pretty out of it. So, I need a book.
I mean, it really did a number on her.
Did they say what? Did she have a stroke? I mean,
She had a TBI,
she did?
and
Are you too?
yes, so that was still with my friend Grace in Michigan.
Yeah.
And Grace was incoherent, combative, and basically it was like we had her in a solo room with cameras because she was trying to get out of the
Wow.
because the infection, like really high temperature.
Okay.
So when I was like, what's going on? And somebody said, you shot. I'm like, oh. So she seems to be coming back fast, but
Yeah, when I
mean, I called her, talked to her yesterday, and then like 1 minute later she called me and she's like, did you try to call me? And I'm like, she just talked Philly.
when I called her, she said I was the first coherent conversation she had had. And she didn't even know what was happening in baseball, so that definitely told me she wasn't fine, but I was slightly concerned, but
So did you have any of her kids?
I do. I have her son Jim's number.
Because Jeremy called last night and I was like, while she was on the phone with him, I was like, Shelly, you want to ask me if she wants her information?
Yeah.
And then he
I'll-
took it as her.
I can give you now or another time, but
And so then he's like, no, I don't want the information. I'm just like, Shelly, the whole point is
Jim is the better one. Yeah. Plus Jim's a Mets fan, but that's just a bonus.
I thought Jeremy was the one who was around.
Wait, Jim's the pilot, is it? Oh, I get confused. One of them, the one who's the pilot, is a Mets fan. Yeah, I mean, but that's... long that might take. Don't take that long. Which day? Most of these people saw each other. Some of them, I don't know. Matches again? Yeah. Okay. You know, we figured out where to do everything last week except Kol Nidre, right? So, I was told yesterday I looked much calmer than someone expected that I would look. And I wasn't sure how to take that. The person said, "You don't look like nearly as freaked out as I expected you to look the day before." I don't really, not... Rich. There is nothing, I mean, I could have done an hour-long sermon about, what do you do? What do you do, right? But, and I'm going to stop. See, I'm going to stop right there. Okay. They won. No, they're not playing tonight. Other teams that I don't really care that much about are playing tonight. I mean, sorry, yes. All right, friends, welcome. So tonight we have Shabbat and we have Yom Kippur. So we have a lot of greetings, right? And I always make sure to write these down so I don't miss any. So first of all, Good Yontif, right, which is Yiddish, as we know, Good Yontif. Chag Sameach, it's a holiday, so we wish each other Chag Sameach. Good. In my family, my parents and my siblings are really into wishing each other a Tzom Kal. Tzom Kal? Who knows Tzom Kal? No? An easy fast, right? Kal means light or easy. Tzom means fast. So a Tzom Kal, an easy fast. You don't want that easy a fast? Is that what you're? All right. I mean, well, I mean, I can't fast anymore. But for those of you who are, wish each other an easy one now. It's your chance to say it now. All right, we did that. Most importantly, we say Gamar Chatima Tova. Gamar Chatima Tova. Chatam means to seal. Gamar means like final. A good final sealing. What are we being sealed in? The book of life, we hope, right? So Gamar Chatima Tova, to me, that's the most essential of all of the greetings for this holiday. And Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. There's a few things we do that we add when Yom Kippur is on Shabbat, and there's a couple of other things we don't do, so it all mostly evens out. You don't get out any sooner, and you're not really here any longer. We just substitute a couple of things. So that's how it works out. Okay. For those who haven't been here before, and as a reminder for those who were here last week, we always go through our security procedures and reminders. In this room, there are 5 exits right out of this room. There's an exit right here, an exit over there. There's an exit in the back on that side and on that side, or out through the door the way that you came in through the lobby. So many exits if you need to leave the room. And we always remember, we don't have panic buttons and we don't have first aid kits around. They don't have, that would be another thing, is the lack of the panic buttons. Yeah, Steve noted, we noted last week, this room has 5 entrances. No synagogue sanctuary would be recommended to have 5 exits or entrances today for security posture. But this room has the 5 exits. The bathrooms are down the hall. If there is an incident that requires us to rapidly leave the building or to get out of the sanctuary, remember our training, run, hide, and fight, and in that order. And we hope that we have no need to bring that up, need to remember that. Please silence your cell phones and or put them on Do Not Disturb at this time. And I ask that you please don't use them in a way that would interfere with other people's focused prayer experience. As we know, it should be the most focused prayer experience for many of us of the entire year. Cell phones can be distracting, so if you have some reason that you really need to use it, please try not to use it in here. We welcome those who are following us along. It's this camera, right? Yeah. Welcome to those following along online. We don't in this room. They stream on YouTube. They don't Zoom. So there's one camera. Hi, people online, and we welcome all of those folks together to join us tonight. We join together here tonight, each in our own way, united as a community to seek forgiveness from God, whatever we understand that to mean. May we all encounter and find the forgiveness that we need. May we do the teshuvah that we need to do during these next 24 hours and change. We begin with the most important thing that I'm going to say this entire day, which if you'd like to read along with me, it's on page 20. When asked for the reason for his leniency in permitting the sick to eat during Yom Kippur, Rabbi Chaim of Brisk replied, "It's not that I'm lenient when it comes to Yom Kippur, but I am strict when it comes to saving a life. For those who are physically well, fasting on Yom Kippur is a mitzvah that nourishes our souls. However, for those of us who are physically frail, the mitzvah incumbent upon us is to nourish our bodies so that we may live. Teshuvah, inward turning, can only occur where life allows for the turning." The last thing I did before I put my phone down was I texted a couple of people who are home and watching us, and because they're sick, and I reminded them not to fast. If you're sick, if you can't fast, don't think about it. I said don't. I don't know if what that counts for, but, no fasting. Friends, let's turn, please, to pages 687 and 688. Yes, sir. Yep, absolutely. Drink your water if you need to take your medicine. Absolutely. If you haven't been with us for a while, we've been lighting a third candle. When we light our candles ever since last year as a way to remember and honor those who lost their lives on October 7th last year. I was hoping to look good there. Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat v'yom HaKippurim. May it be your will, eternal one, our God and God of our ancestors, that these candles light up the pathway of return on this your holy Shabbat Shabbaton, a Sabbath of complete cessation. By their light, may your light be seen. And let us say together, Amen. Amen. Friends, please turn to the next page, page 690. It is the custom in our congregation to put on our talit tote together. If you have a talit, I invite you to take it out and to please stand up. Kol Nidre, the Erev Yom Kippur service, is the only evening service of the year when we put on a talit. We do that because all of Yom Kippur is considered to be one long service. We will not technically have a concluding song tonight. Tomorrow morning service and tomorrow afternoon services are just considered part of tonight's service. So we put on our talit tote now, just as we normally would when we arrive for services in the morning. The blessing for putting on your talit is on page 690. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit. Whenever you're ready, you're welcome to be seated, and when you're all ready, I invite the Halio singers to come forward. Wow, Nassim. That was.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you, friends. Erev Shel Shoshanim means the evening of the roses. Page 697. All the vows on our lips, the burdens in our hearts, the pent-up regrets about which we brooded and spoke through prayers without end on last Atonement Day, did not change our way of life, did not bring deliverance in the year that has gone. From mountain peaks of fervor, we fell to common ways at the close of the fast. Will you hear our regret? Will you open our prison, release us from shackles of habit? Will you answer our prayers, forgive our wrongs, though we sin again and again? In moments of weakness, we do not remember promises of Atonement Day. Look past forgiveness. Take only from our hearts. Forgive us. Pardon us. The lights are, we're going to be able to dim the lights a little, right? The lights are going to come down a little bit while Kol Nidre is being sung, and then they'll come back up afterwards for the rest of the service. We have folks who I need to invite forward. I'd like to invite up Andrea Meyerhoff and Jacob Thiessen to open the Ark. I'd like to, and folks who are coming up, I invite you, if you want to follow along with Kol Nidre, bring your booklet. That includes the folks in the Beit Din as well. I'd like to invite up the members of the board to come up near the Ark. The members of the board will carry the Torah around. I invite the Hallel singers to assemble. Friends, Please rise in honor of the Torah. I also invite to come forward the three members of our Beit Din this evening, Dee Chak, Carl DeVore, and Elena Henderson. Page 691 and 2. B'shiv'a shel mala uvshiv'a shel mata al da'at hamakom va'al da'at hakahal anu matirin lehitpalel im ha'av yarnim. By the authority who congregate above and all who congregate on earth, and with permission of the omnipresent one and by consent of this assembly, we accept into our midst whoever seeks to pray, whether righteous or unrighteous, all shall pray as one community. I invite Sri Press forward, who's going to chant Kol Nidre, which is, the Hebrew is on page 694, but we do a slightly different version there's actually several different versions of Kol Nidre. So the transliteration of what Sri is going to sing is on page 8 in your booklets, in your handouts. Page 8 is the transliteration.
Sarei, V'charame, V'koname, V'chinuye, V'kinusei, Ushavut. Din dana, Urishtvana, Uriacharimna, V'diasana, Anavshatana, Miyom Kippurim Zeh, Ad Yom Kippurim Haba Aleinu Letova Kochon Icharet Nan V'chon Kochon Yahon Sharan Shavikin Shavitin Betelim Uvutalim Lesharin Rin Velekayamin Nidrana La Nidre Vesaran Elesare Ushavuatana La Shavuot Kol Nidre Viesare V'charame V'koname V'chinuye V'kinusei Ushavut Din dana Urishtvana Uriacharimna V'diasana Anavshatana Miyom Kippurim Zeh Ad Yom Kippurim Haba Aleinu Letova Kochon Icharet Nan V'chon Kochon Yahon Sharan Shavikin Shavitin Betelim Uvutalim Lesharin Rin Velekayamin Nidrana La Nidre Vesara Lenesare Ushavuatana La Shavuot Kol Nidre Viesare V'charame V'koname V'chinuye V'kinusei Ushavut Din Varna Urishtvana Uriacharimana Vadyasana Anafshatana Miyom Kippurim Zeh Ad Yom Kippurim Haba Aleinu Letova Kohon Icharet nan v'chon Kohon Yohon Sharan Shevikin Shevitin Beteli Muvutalin Lesharin Velekayamin Nidrana La Nidre Vesaran Lesare Ushavuata La Shavuot.
Page 695. We read together the first two paragraphs in English. And there shall be atonement for the whole community of Israel, and the stranger dwelling in their midst, indeed for an entire people that has gone astray. Grant forgiveness then for the transgression of this people, as the abundance of your love demands, and as you have always lifted from disfavor these your people from the time of Egypt until now, as it is told. Vayomer Adonai salachti kidvarecha. We read together. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehachianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Let's put that one back first. You can be seated. Okay. I said it instead of singing. We can return the lights to normal. Thanks. Thank you, Cherie, and thanks to everyone who helped with this part of the service. Friends, we continue on page 700. Page 700. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat. Mizmor shir Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat. Tov lehodot ladonai. Tov lehodot ladonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Mizmor shir leyom hashabbat. Psalms 92 and 93 express the motifs of wholeness, joy, and rest in Shabbat. Psalm 92 has been associated with Shabbat since biblical times. According to the Midrash, Shabbat itself stood up and recited this psalm at creation, thus exulting in the role given it as the day of inner joy for all of God's creatures. That's a good answer for why we call this the psalm for Shabbat. We conclude the psalm on page 702, singing the last 4 lines there, Tzadik Katamar. Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Ke'erez Balvanon Yizkeh Shetulim Bevet Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvun Beseva Deshenim Vera'ananim Yiyu Lehagid Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. Friends, we'll continue on page 708, with the Baruch Hu, the call to prayer. The Baruch Hu, like many other prayers that we say on this holiday, we will chant to the High Holiday medley, not the traditional one. And if you have forgotten that over this last week, I mean, how could you? Did you not sing everything you heard this week to the High Holiday melody? Who did? All right. Oh. Nobody? All right. Dave, thank you, Dave. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So I invite, if you forgot, then Shuri and Steve are going to do a little nigun to remind us. Friends, please rise for the call to prayer of the Baruch Hu on page 708.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. On the next 2 pages, we'll find Ma'ariv, the evening prayer. We thank God for allowing night to fall. We'll read together the English, and then we'll chant the Chatimah, the closing part of the prayer, starting at the asterisk in the High Holiday, using the High Holiday medley. First, we read together in English. Blessed are you, Eternal One, our God, sovereign of all worlds, by whose word the evenings fall. In wisdom you open heaven's gates. With divine discernment you make seasons change, causing the times to come and go, and ordering the stars on their appointed paths through heaven's dome, all according to your will. Creator of the day and night, who rolls back light before the dark and dark before the light, who makes day pass away and brings on night, dividing between day and night. Creator of the multitudes of heaven is your name. Living and enduring God, rule over us now and always. Blessed are you, Almighty One, who makes the evenings fall. We continue at the asterisk.
Umevi laila, umaftil ben yom ben laila. Adonai tzevaot shemo, El Chai V'Kayam. Tamidim L'Chaleinu Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai, Hamadriv Hadravim.
I invite the Halio singers forward. Friends, the Halio singers will sing Ahavat Olam, which is on page 712 if you'd like to follow along. And if you want to move the candles, you're welcome to do that. So, you're good? All right.
It just lights up the...
Just, please don't knock them over. That's not the phone call I want to make to Reverend Lisa. So, Thank you, friends. Please turn to pages 7, 13, and 14. Page 7 and 13 and 14 for the Shema. Listen, Israel, listen. Still the mind's chatter. Quiet the heart's desire. The rush of life flows through me. The heart of eternity beats in my own chest. Listen. I am the fingers of a divine and infinite hand. I am the thoughts of a divine and infinite mind. There is only one reality, the singular source and substance of all diversity. This one alone is God. On page 714 is the Shema and the V'ahavta. It is traditional to cover your eyes when we say the 6 words of the Shema. Like many other things, if there's stuff that you only do one day of the year in Judaism, most likely you do it today. So today is the one day of the year when we say the Baruch Shem Kavod line aloud. Sing it proud. We chant the Shema and the Baruch Shem Kavod lines to the High Holiday Medley. The Shema is on page 714. Please join us.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'chayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlachtecha v'derech ושפך וקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך.
Friends, we continue silently with biblical selection 1 or 2, which are on the next few pages. Pick one. Say it to yourself. We'll join together in a few minutes with the last 3 words on page 722. Page 722. Chant the last 3 words there together. Adonai Elohechem emet. Let's turn to page 726. Rabbi Judah said, "At the sea, each tribe said to the other, 'You go into the sea first.' As they stood there bickering, Nachshon ben Aminadav jumped into the water. Meanwhile, Moses was praying. God said to him, 'My friend is drowning, and you pray?' 'What can I do?' Moses asked. God responded, as it says in the text, 'Speak to the people of Israel and tell them to go. Raise your staff.'"
Moshe Miriam uvenei Yisrael lachanu shirach b'simcha rabba v'imru chulam.
Next page.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nadav b'kodesh, no התהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך
ראו בניך בוקע לפני משה זה אלי יענו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael.
We'll continue in a moment on page 730, where we'll sing Hashkivenu. We say Hashkivenu when we lie down at night, when we are least able to protect ourselves. As it notes on page 732, on Yom Kippur, we say the everyday Hashkivenu, though on this awe-filled night, it has added meaning. The fears and terrors of our exposed heart are added to our natural primordial night fears. Desiring atonement, we have just opened our hearts before the stern judge. In Hashkivenu, we ask that same merciful judge, in the same words we use every day, to spread the canopy of peace in order that we may lie down in peace on this night of nights, and that we, who are judged this night, will awaken to life. When fears multiply and danger threatens, when sickness comes, when death confronts us, it is God's blessing of shalom that sustains us and upholds us, lightening our burden, dispelling our worry, restoring our strength, renewing our hope, reviving us. We sing together on page 730.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
Page 733. For on this day atonement shall be made for you, to make you clean from all of your wrongdoings. Before the fount of mercy, you shall all be clean. Friends, please rise on page 734 as we sing Welcome in Shabbat and sing V'Shamru. V'Shamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'Dorotam B'rit Olam. V'Shamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'Dorotam B'rit Olam. Beini uvein B'nei Yisrael Od Hi Le'olam, Od Hi Le'olam, Od Hi Le'olam. V'Shamru B'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat La'asot et HaShabbat L'Dorotam B'rit Olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'Shamru B'nai Yisrael et HaShabbat. La'asot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat. La'asot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam.
Ready?
Ki vayhezeh
Yakaper alechem vaterhem mikol chatohotechem lifnei Adonai titaru.
Please remain standing as we continue on the next page with the Chatzikah.
Yikada. Yika. Is this plaintive?
One more time.
Plaintive.
Yikadal vikadal shemei rabah Yamaha divrachiruteh V'yaham lech mahachuteh B'cha yechon uv'yomechon U'chayedecho beit Yisrael Ba'agala Uv'izman kariv V'imaru amen Yehei shemei rabah Mevarach v'maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh V'yitalal shemet kedusha brihu Le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nehemata Damiran bi'ahamaha V'imaru amen.
Friends, we'll continue in a moment with the silent Amidah. The Amidah starts on page 740 and goes through page 772. It's a long Amidah. There's a lot of extra stuff in there. If you come across anything that says Shabbat, add that in. Some places where it's in parentheses because Yom Kippur is not always on Shabbat. This is the one time throughout the holidays when we wait for every single person to complete their prayers. So we will, during the silent Amidah, you can stand and silently say the prayers or sit and read or meditate. We will wait for the very last person to sit down, however long that takes. We won't do that again, but we do that on this Kol Nidre evening. So we will be patient and sit, enjoy the silence when that time comes. An introduction to the Amidah that I'll read is back on page 18. Every time I listen to your pain, instead of telling you how to fix it, I make a sacrifice. I used to be a magician who diverted himself from his problems by focusing on someone else's. You might have been impressed by my cleverness, but it did not help either of us. At last, I have been reduced to silence. My silence can be a mirror for you. May this offering of emptiness give you room to heal. Again, the silent Amidah starts on page 740. It goes through page 772. When you are finished, please have a seat or look up. Reading on page 742. In each age, we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment, we are addressed by the world. In each age, we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment, we stand face to face with truth. In each age, we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment, the knowing heart is filled with wonder. In each age, the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Page 774. We have just completed the Amidah, silent, intense, and personal. Now we have an opportunity to do what we may have been trying to do for hours, days, weeks, or even months. We have an opportunity to forgive those who have hurt or have wronged us. We might be willing to do it for their sake, but if not, we should be willing to do it for our own. Resentment, grudge-bearing, and antique anger contaminate our lives. Forgiving those who have wronged me allows me to jettison the pollutants of my soul. If this Amidah has given me the strength to accomplish this task, then it has served its purpose. We join together and sing Oseh Shalom, which is at the end of the Hebrew on page 772. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, Imru, Amen. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ta'aseh Shalom, Ta'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom, Ya'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ta'aseh Shalom, Ta'aseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Ve'imru, Amen. Together we read the English on page 773. 773 together. Master of the world, I now forgive all who have angered me or sinned against me, whether through my body, my possessions, my honor, or anything that is mine, whether by accident or by intention, knowingly or unknowingly, word or deed. Let no one be punished on my account. My God and the God of my ancestors, may it be your will that I sin no more, and that I not again do what is evil in your sight. In your great mercy, wipe away my sins without requiring my suffering. May the words of my mouth and the longing of my heart be acceptable to you, the listener, my rock and my redeemer. Page 786.
Hanishma Mahalach Ve'aguf Pula Husa Husa Amalach Hanishma Mahalach Ve'aguf Shelach Adonai na'aseh le'emana shemecha.
Invite the Halio singers forward. They're going to sing Hashivenu, which you can follow along with the words on page 808. Thank you, friends. You can sit down, sure. If you want. It's become my custom on Yom Kippur evening to share a story or two about Teshuvah. I spoke extensively about Teshuvah during Rosh Hashanah services last week. And we will say prayers of Teshuvah repeatedly throughout Yom Kippur. And hopefully we have all been engaged in this difficult work during the last 40 days. Determining what Teshuvah work we need to do and how to do it is as complex and challenging as any other personal work that we ever try to do. It's my hope that for at least one person who's listening tonight, this story might help you to figure out how to get started. I've shared tonight's story before, but it's one that I find both meaningful and effective, and which is speaking loudly to me this year. Before the story, I'd like to share two quotations about Teshuvah that I find meaningful. The first is from a Christian writer, Lewis Smedes, who said, "To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you." The second is unattributed. It says, "Apologizing does not mean that you're wrong. It means that you value your relationship over ego." This is a story about a very beautiful and special mirror. It hung on a wall in the dining room of a fine house belonging to a rich man. The mirror was large and square, with a wide, thick gold frame carved with beautiful designs of leaves and flowers. Everyone that saw the mirror admired it, but everyone also noticed that it was imperfect. On one of the corners, you see, the silver backing had been scraped off. so that this part of the mirror was plain, transparent glass. People would remark upon its beauty and then say, "Oh, what a pity, too bad, the mirror is damaged." To everyone's surprise, the mirror's owner would tell his visitors that it was he himself who had deliberately scraped the silver backing off. Many years ago, in a small town, there lived a man who owned a small store from which he earned just enough money to take care of his family. He was not a rich man, but he was also not a very poor man. He had a few customers. Sometimes people left the store without buying anything because the merchant didn't have a lot of things to choose from. He was happy with his life. Though he was not rich, he always had enough to share. No visitor ever left his home hungry. Every time a poor person needed help, the merchant always found money to give them. The merchant and his wife lived a very simple life. Their home was small. The house really needed to be painted, but there was never enough money for that. It seemed to them that it was more important to help someone in real trouble than to paint a house. Their furniture was old and worn for the same reason. The curtains on the window were thin and faded. The merchant and his wife had no carpets on the floor. The clothes were plain, and they did not often buy new things. Many of their cups and plates had chips and cracks. The food they ate was simple. Yes, it was not a very fancy house, but it was a comfortable home. It was a warm and inviting place. Everyone felt peaceful and relaxed there. The merchant had many visitors because everyone knew that he was kind and that he liked to be helpful. One day, as the merchant stood in the doorway of his store waiting for customers, he noticed a stranger approaching. When the stranger was near the store, the merchant asked the stranger, "Maybe you would like to come to my home and rest a while. If you are hungry, please be my guest. If you are thirsty, please come for something to drink. Perhaps you need money, we will help you." The merchant's invitation was so warm and friendly that the stranger decided to stop in his house for a rest. What the merchant did not know was that this was no ordinary stranger. The traveling stranger was a very holy man. He was known to many people who would gather to listen to his words of wisdom or a source of blessings or prayers in times of need. The holy man was impressed by the merchant's kindness and generosity. He knew many rich people who could have helped the poor much more easily than the merchant, but who did much less than he. The holy man enjoyed his visit with the merchant and his wife. As he was leaving, he blessed the merchant with riches so that he should be able to continue helping the poor and the needy. After the holy man left, the merchant's store became very busy. Everyone found what they wanted, and no longer did people leave his store to shop somewhere else. Each day, the merchant had more and more new customers and more money to bring home. In a short time, he became one of the wealthiest men in the town. The holy man's blessing that the merchant should become wealthy was realized. As the merchant became more successful, he spent less and less time studying, and he didn't pray as often. He did not even devote much time to helping travelers and the needy. The merchant, after a while, was only available by special appointment. His servants were told to give money to needy people who came for help, but the merchant had no time to listen to their problems. He and his wife built a brand new house that had many rooms. All the rooms were large and beautiful. On the windows hung soft velvet drapes. The floors were covered with thick rugs. The kitchen was filled with new pots and pans. All the furniture was new and expensive. On the walls hung fine paintings. In the living room hung a huge mirror. It was so big it almost covered the hall wall. All around the mirror, there was a wide, thick frame of gold. Everyone who saw the mirror commented on its beauty. There were many servants in this new house, and travelers and beggars were not allowed in. Strangers were no longer invited for a meal. Servants would open the door and give some food and money to the needy. The people noticed that the merchant had changed since he became rich. He was always so kind and good-natured in the past. They remembered the days when he had never been too busy to help others. One day, a messenger from the holy man came to visit the merchant. The news of this merchant's good fortune had reached the holy man, and he needed his help. An innocent man had been put in prison on false charges, and a great deal of money was needed for his ransom. Of course, the merchant was happy to help. He gave the messenger the money and sent him off with good wishes for a safe trip home. The messenger had completed his mission, but he felt empty. It had been difficult for him to speak with the merchant in person. His servants would not let him into the merchant's office. The merchant had given him the money, but he had not invited him into his home for food and rest. The messenger was surprised. The holy man had praised the merchant and often spoken of his hospitality and charitable ways. The messenger could not understand what had happened. When he came back to the holy man, he gave him the money and told him everything about his trip. The holy man shook his head sadly. He understood that the merchant, the poor man, had a heart of gold, but the merchant, the rich man, with all his gold, seemed to have a heart more like stone. The holy man decided to visit the merchant to see what could be done. When the holy man arrived at the merchant's house, the merchant welcomed him warmly and invited him into his home. This house looked very different from the home that the merchant had lived in when the holy man first visited him. It was big and beautiful, but gone was the friendliness, warmth, and comfort one had felt in the simple old home. The holy man walked on the heavy rug. He saw the costly paintings. He looked at the expensive new furniture and at the drapes made from the finest, softest velvet. And then he noticed the mirror. He looked at its shiny gold frame. It was the biggest mirror he had ever seen. The merchant said to the holy man, "That mirror is my favorite treasure. Of all the lovely things I own, I like that mirror the best. It cost a great deal of money, but it was worth it. It's truly a masterpiece, a work of art, is it not?" "Yes, I see," the holy man answered. "The mirror is really beautiful." He said this softly in a serious voice, his face sad. The holy man called to the merchant. "Come here," he said, and he asked him to walk over to the mirror and stand in front of it. The holy man then walked away a little bit, and he asked the merchant to tell him what he saw. The merchant was puzzled, but he answered, "Myself. That's what I see in this mirror, my own reflection. That's all I can see." "Look closely," the holy man said. "What else do you see?" "I see my lovely furniture reflected in the mirror. I see my paintings. I see my rugs and drapes. I can see many lovely things in my beautiful home." The holy man then walked over to the window with the merchant. He pushed aside the drapes and he asked the merchant to look out into the street. The merchant's home was on the main street of the town and people were always passing by. Since it was a small town, the merchant knew almost all the people walking past his house. The holy man asked him questions about all the people they saw. The merchant told him that the woman with the basket was a poor widow with many small children. She was hoping that kind people would put food in the basket for the family. He told the holy man about the old water carrier who found it hard to carry the water. He pointed out the tailor who prayed every day but was very poor and never had enough money for his family. The merchant was wondering why the holy man was asking him these questions. The holy man was a serious man who never had time to waste. Why should he be so curious about all these people? The holy man said, "It is strange, is it not? A mirror and a window are both made of glass, yet they're very different. What do you mean? Asked the merchant. Well, said the holy man, when you looked in the mirror, you could only see yourself and your house. You could see much more when you looked out the window. Then you could see all your neighbors and fellow townspeople. That's true, said the merchant. A mirror and a window are both made from glass. The window is transparent. Light can pass right through it. It's clear, and you can see everything through it. The mirror, on the other hand, is covered with silver on one side. The rays of light cannot pass through. And a mirror can only reflect what's in front of it. I see, the holy man said, and he nodded his head. I see. The piece of glass that is plain is clear through and through, allowing you to see others and their lives. Yet the same glass, when it's covered with silver, only allows you to see yourself. The merchant's eyes filled with tears. He felt so ashamed. He finally understood everything that had happened to him since he became rich. That night, he made a big party in his house. The whole town was invited, especially all of the poor people. Everyone enjoyed themselves, and then the merchant asked for silence. He made a short speech, and he asked for everyone's forgiveness. He told his guests that he was sorry for the way he had acted since he had become rich. He said that his life would now be different. He promised them that his doors would always be open for everyone, and that he would never be too busy to help those that needed him. After all the guests had left, the merchant walked over to his beautiful mirror with a sharp knife. He took the knife and he scraped off the silver covering in one corner. He didn't stop until that part was as clear as glass. Only then was he satisfied. Yom Kippur is a time for mirrors, when we take a deep look at ourselves, and also for windows, when we look at the outside world and see everyone else. Let's remember to scrape the silver off the glass today, during our prayers, and throughout the rest of the year. In a moment, we're going to recite aloud for the first time today the Vidui, the litany of sins to which we confess, that we'll repeat several times before the gates close tomorrow night. May we find a way to be able to authentically look both at ourselves and at everyone else as we pray on this holy day. Thanks. Friends, you're going to need your prayer books. You're going to need your booklets. You're going to stand for a while. You're going to strike yourself a little bit. Who couldn't use a good self-striking? Right? Please turn to page 814. Page 814. You're also going to need to turn to page 12 in your programs. I'm sure you were going to go down there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Please rise in honor of the Torah. For several of the prayers, we do some Hebrew and then some English. For Shema Kolenu, we're going to do the first 3 lines in Hebrew, then we're going to all chant in the English that's in the program, and then we'll go back to the refrain again on page 814. Right.
Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Husvarachem Aleinu, Verachem aleinu, v'kabel berachamim, uveratzon, v'kabel berachamim, uvratzon et tefilateinu. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Kadesh Yameinu kekedem. O Lord our God, we raise to thee our anguished hearts in prayer. We come to thee in penitence, thy wayward children spare. We strayed so far from thee, O God, thy grace bestowed once more. Restore to us our innocence, renew us as of yore. Receive, O Lord, the words we bring, our heart's unspoken plea. O Rock divine, Redeemer, Lord, we hunger but for thee. Forsake us not, nor take from us thy Spirit's holy light. When youth has waned and we are old, protect us in the night. Refuse not, Lord, our penitence, and be not far away. When foes assail, deliver us, our trust confirm today. Shema Koleinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Chus v'rachem aleinu, v'rachem aleinu.
You may be seated. Continue on the next page, page 815. The confessional prayers, as we recite them, are said in the first person plural. At no point are we asked to identify ourselves individually as having committed any particular sin or misbehavior. The anonymity and shared community allows us to ponder, to explore, try to be honest with ourselves and with God about what it is that we've done and haven't done during this past year and what we would like to do in the coming year. We read together the first paragraph on page 815 in English. Our God, our ancients' God, do not forsake us and do not turn away and do not cause us shame and do not nullify your covenant with us, but bring us nearer to your Torah. Teach us your mitzvot, instruct us in your ways. Incline our hearts to treat your name with awe, and open up our inner nature to your love, and bring us back to you in truth with whole and peaceful heart. And for the sake of your great name, be merciful, and grant forgiveness for our wrongs. As it is written in your prophet's words, for the sake of your great name, Eternal One, forgive my wrongdoing, for I have done much wrong. Heinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu ki anu Ata Eloheinu, Anu Vanecha, V'ata Avinu, Anu Avdecha, V'ata Adoneinu, Anu Kahalecha, V'ata Chelkeinu, Anu Nachalatecha, V'ata Goraleinu, Anu Tzonecha, V'ata Roeinu, Anu Charmecha, V'ata Notreinu, Anu Ve'ulatecha, V'ata Yotzreinu, Anu Rayatecha, V'ata Dodeinu, Anu Segulatecha, V'ata Keroveinu, Anu Amecha, V'ata Malkeinu, Anu Ma'amirecha, V'ata Ma'amireinu. Page 818. Today we stand before the mirror of all to see ourselves as we are. We come with no gifts, no bribes, no illusions, no excuses. We stand without defense and wait to be filled. What will fill us? Remorse, certainly. So much error and needless pain. And joy. Remembered moments of light and right doing. We are too complex for single-sided emotions, and we are too simple to be excused by our complexity. Let us be bold enough to see, humble enough to feel, daring enough to turn and embrace the way of justice, mercy, and simplicity. Friends, we continue on page 820 with the Ashamnu. During the Ashamnu and then the Al-Chet, which we'll come to in a few moments, it is traditional that during each one of the sins, each one of the misbehaviors that we list, is traditional to strike your chest. Just not where the microphone is. You can use a fist and strike your chest. It helps us to feel the things we're confessing to a little more viscerally. And to be honest, it helps us to feel like this is something we did wrong, and we want to make sure that we really know it. If you don't like the idea of striking yourself with a closed fist, a gentle tap with an open hand works as well. Friends, please rise for the Ashamnu on page 820.
Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Pevinu, Virsharnu, Zardnu, Hashmashnu, Tafalnu, Shaker, Yai Dai 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 Yahatnu Ra Kizavnu Lartnu Maradnu Niatnu Saranu Avinu Pashanu Saranu Kishinu Oref Yai Dai 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 Rashanu Shiatnu Tiavnu Ta'inu Titanu Dai 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 Dai
turn ahead to pages 827 and 8. Don't sit. Oh, you missed the don't. Don't sit down. Is this thing on? Don't. Page 827 and 828 is the beginning of the Al-Chet. With the Al-Chet, we again continue to tap or strike ourselves with each one of the items, each one of the behaviors in the litany. We'll do the first paragraph all in Hebrew, and then we'll do Hebrew-English throughout. If you've never done this before, how to do it becomes apparent and easy fairly quickly. Page 828. Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'imutz halev V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha b'li da'at Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha b'gadui u'vatzatir V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'da'at u'mirma Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through the prompting of a heart V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through the influence of others Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha whether by intention or mistake V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by the hand of violence Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through our foolishness of speech V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through an evil inclination V'yal kulam Eloha salichot Selach lanu mekalanu Kaper lahanu Ve'al kulam Eloha salichot Selach lanu mekalanu Selach lanu mekalanu Kaper lahanu Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha in the palming of a bribe V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by expressions of contempt Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through misuse of food and drink V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by our avarice and greed Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through offensive gaze V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha through a condescending glance Ve'al kulam Eloha salichot Selach lanu mekalanu Kaper lanu Ve'al kulam Eloha salichot Selach lanu mekalanu Selach lanu mekalanu Kaper lanu Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by our quickness to oppose V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by deception of a friend Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by unwillingness to change V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by our running to embrace an evil act Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha by our groundless hatred V'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha in the giving of false pledge Ve'al kulam Eloha salichot Selach lanu mekalanu Kaper lahanu Ve'al kulam Eloha salichot Selach lanu mekalanu
lanu, kaper lanu.
We may be seated. We read together the last three paragraphs in English on page 831. Do not forsake us, you who have created us. Do not cast us away, you who brought us into being. Do not abandon us, you who fashioned us, and do not cause us the destruction that our wrongs demand. Your people, your inheritance, those who hunger for your good, those thirsty for your love, those who yearn for your redemption, they shall recognize and know that to you alone, the fount of life, our God, belongs all mercy, all the forgiveness in the world. Friends, please turn ahead to page 1188. Page 1188, and please rise for Kaddish Titkabal, page 1188. Please rise. Yikadav Yikadash Me'rabah. Yamadi v'rachirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayei t'chol Beit Yisrael b'galav v'zman karif v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach li'olam u'lam me'amaya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitlal shmei d'kudasha brichu le'ela le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yalma v'imeru. Amen. Titkabal tzlot tahonu v'uton d'chol Beit Yisrael kodam avahundi v'yishmaya v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim alenu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Osei shalom bimromav hu ya'asei shalom alenu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'imeru. Amen. Please remain standing. We turn to page 1202. 1202. We sing Aleinu below the line, traditional melody on page 1202. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol lated gedula liotzer bereshi shelo asanu kegoye haratzot v'lo samanu kamishbachot hadama shelo sam chelkenu kohem v'gohora leinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notesh shamayim v'yosei haaretz u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim nima'al Ushchinatu zo, begov he meheromi, hu enod, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu v'torato, v'yadat tahayom v'hashevota elevavecha. Ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim mima'al v'al haaretz mitachat ein od kakatuv b'toratecha Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo Please be seated. Friends, we'll continue in a moment on page 1216. Page 1216 with Kaddish Yatom, the Mourner's Kaddish. On this Yom Kippur evening, we observe the Yortzites of Rosalind Salzman, Thelma Cohn, David Shearer, Sylvia Stiglitz, Margaret Brenner, David Johnson, Charles Strauss, Gabe Kaz, Claudine Lariche, Paul Zubkov, Ivan Kirsch, Judy Margolis. We also honor the memories of the 6 hostages who died a month ago: Hirsch Goldberg Poland, Alexander Lobanov, Almag Sarsi, Eden Yerushalmi, Paul Zubkov, Ivan Kirsch. We also observe the yahrzeits of Alfred R. Bachrach, Regina Chasin, Al Chok, Dina Duskin, Joan Gordon, Bill Johnson, Miriam Schneider, and Donald Zepp. Is anyone in mourning for or observing the yahrzeit of someone whose name I didn't mention? I invite all those who are in mourning or observing a yahrzeit to please rise, as well as those who would like to or those whose custom it is to rise for Mourner's Kaddish. Mourner's Kaddish Kaddish Yatom is on page 1216. Yit Gadal V'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'alma Divrach Yirutei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon Uvyomechon Uvchaye Dekol Beit Yisrael B'agala Uvisman Kariv V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Ulolmei Almaya Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Romam V'yit Naseh V'yit Adar V'yit Aleh V'yit Halal Shemei Dekudesha Barichu La'ela La'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amiran B'yalma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yimru Amen. Osei Shalom B'mromav Hu Ya'asei Shalom Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yal Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'yimru Amen. Friends, please be seated. I'd like to invite forth Carlin Owens, who will share announcements this evening. We made the font very... Yes, one page and a bigger font. It's Jill and my New Year's resolution to make the announcements in a bigger font all the time. We don't make resolutions for Rosh Hashanah.
Shana Tova, everyone. More information about all the services and programs I'll mention can be found in our weekly email newsletter. You can also contact the office or ask members of the board, our committees, or our staff to learn more. Thanks to our cantorial team, longtime synagogue members, Cherie Press and Steve Alter, for helping to lead services throughout the high holidays. Thank you to the entire Safety and Security Committee for organizing ushers and greeters throughout the high holiday services. Thank you to all our volunteers for helping throughout the holidays. Thank you to longtime synagogue members Hayes Press and Bill Walker for coordinating everything with St. Martin's, coordinating the schlepping of all of our stuff back and forth from the synagogue to the church to the synagogue, for doing all of the AV and tech work during high holiday services, and for doing so many other things that make our high holiday services both possible and successful. Thank you to Helene Goldsman, Jill Witten, and Lois Oldman for organizing our high holiday Oneg and Kiddush lunch last week. Thank you to Beth Jacoby for organizing our community breakfast, which will take place immediately following Havdalah tomorrow evening. The e-news contains information about what to bring. Thank you to St. Martin's for hosting our high holiday services last week, tonight, and tomorrow. Please check the e-news or insert in your service booklet for the schedule. Once again, our Tzedakah Tikkun Olam effort for the high holidays is to donate food to the needy. Paper bags have been provided by the Social Action Committee for food collection. Please bring the filled bags back here tomorrow morning. If you cannot attend, bring them here. Bring them to the synagogue if you can't do it here. Okay. This Sunday afternoon, Heart and the Stand Up Project are sponsoring The Search for Gold, a puppet show celebrating tolerance and kindness. Everyone is invited to come enjoy the show and stay for a reception to learn more about the Stand Up for Yourself and Others, a new library book collection with an anti-bullying theme. This program will take place at the Croker branch of the Williamsburg Regional Library starting at 3:30. Please join us next Friday night for Shabbat Kulanu, our monthly family-oriented service. October's Shabbat Kulanu will take place in the synagogue sukkah, and the service will start at the special time of 5:30 p.m. in order to maximize daylight. We will celebrate Simchat Torah and religious school consecration during services on the last Friday in October, starting at the special early time of 7 p.m. We have many upcoming programs worth taking note of, including The TBE Book Club, the Sunday Lecture Series, our participation in the Community of Faith Homeless Shelter Program, that one's really good, you should talk to me about that, and the Virginia Peninsula Jewish Film Festival. We also offer many ongoing groups and classes that meet weekly at the synagogue or online, including Torah study, Tanakh study, a crafting group, and Mahjong. Please read the e-news for information about all of these and many other ongoing programs. Lashana Tova, may everyone have a happy, healthy, and sweet new year.
If you missed Sunday, is it 3:30? 3:30, Corinne? 3:30. This puppet show program is terrific. If you just heard that and thought to yourself, and if you didn't, now you should. If you just thought to yourself, what is that stand-up program that that Carlin just mentioned? Corinne, raise your hand. Raise your hand. Go talk to Corinne Garland afterwards, and she would love to tell you all about it because it's a really terrific thing that we're doing. Thanks, Corinne. Thanks, Carlin. As always, we want to put a lot of thanks to St. Martin's out into the air for folks who were not here last week. See these two nice hooks? Normally a cross hangs there. They don't easily take it down. It would be cool if they had a button, like a remote control, and it just went up and down, but they don't. So if you know anyone who goes to St. Martin's, if you happen to bump into someone who works at St. Martin's, if you're friends with the priest of St. Martin's and you talk to her all the time, make sure that would be me, but you might be also, I don't know. Please extend our gratitude to them for hosting us here. It is and it has been and will continue to be, I think, a wonderful space for us. And we want to make sure that we let those folks know that we really appreciate it. If you're wondering, hey, weren't there a lot of college students here last week? The answer is yes, but this is their fall break. Yay for college students. Excellent. We thank the college students. But most of them went home or to do something else fun, but they're currently at services probably wherever they are for their fun fall break, right? I'm the father of a college student. Right. What? Yeah, oh, yes. Bill and Sharon, your child is at services. Excellent. Good. Thank you. So I just wanted to mention that because I know it was nice to have them all here last week. We have many guests here tonight. We have some folks who we haven't seen for a while. It's lovely to have everyone here tonight. Services start tomorrow morning at 9:30. Yisker starts at 1:30. And then Mincha and Nila starts at 5. If you've never come back for Mincha and Nila, I want to put in a plug for Mincha and Nila. It is a really wonderful experience. It is a lovely way to conclude the day. One of the reasons that we chose St. Martin's is because of the windows, so we can watch the day come to an end. And as the gates of repentance of Teshuvah begin to close, we'll get to see the day getting darker around us tomorrow night. And then there's a really good break fast right after, which you heard at least the child of the person who's organizing it thinks is going to be awesome. Right, Charlotte? Yeah. Yes, okay. So you can trust Charlotte. So services, that service will start at 5 and we'll finish around 7:20. And then you can do the thing that we don't want to talk about right now, but we can do that again then tomorrow night. Yes. Oh, some of them, then the ones that say 9 are like leftovers from the past. No? Oh. Well, I don't do printing. 9:30 tomorrow morning. If you come here at 9, sit, be quiet. I mean, people will be here, but we'll start at 9:30. Friends, we have 2 concluding prayers. Yes? Hayes? Friends, please listen to Hayes.
If you wouldn't mind straightening up the books, programs, and schedules of the chairs if you get it up, we'd appreciate it. Okay.
Makes it easier for other folks to come back in and sit down here tomorrow. On page 1218, we find words from Psalm 27, Achat Sha'alti, the second and third line from the bottom of the page in Hebrew, the lines that are transliterated below the Hebrew. One thing I have asked of God, one goal do I pursue, to dwell in the house of God throughout my days, to know the bliss of the sublime, to visit in, to seek out God's temple. These Yamim Noraim, these days of awe, are considered to be a time when we are dwelling in the house of God. May we continue to, throughout this day and really throughout the year going forward. We sing Achat She'alti on page 1218.
Achat she'alti me'et Adonai otavakesh. Achat she'alti me'et Adonai otavakesh. Shivti bevet Adonai Kol yamei chayai, lachazot benoam Adonai, uvaker b'heichalo. Lachazot benoam Adonai, uvaker b'heichalo.
The last words we will say here tonight are on page 1222. Hayom, today. This is the moment, this is the day when we ask God to hear us, to bless us, to forgive us, and pardon us. We sing on page 1222.
Hayom, 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 tedasenu, amen. Hayom, 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 tevarchenu, amen. Hayom, 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 tegadlenu, amen. Hayom, 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 tidrashenu letova, amen. Hayom, 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 tikavenu lechayim tovim, amen. Hayom, 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 tishma shavatenu, amen. Hayom, 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 tikabel barachamim, uvratzon et tefilatenu, amen. Hayom, 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 amen. Hayom, 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 timachol v'tislach lechol avotenu, amen. Hayom, 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 timachol v'tislach lechol avotenu, amen.
Thank you, friends. See you in the morning. Have a good night.